So we're live right now. I'm just going over into. Okay, yeah, that's all it was. I just needed to.
Go live.
So I'm gonna play this music real quick, and then we'll get started. Let me just let him know I did. I'm gonna mute myself. We're gonna hit go live. Uncle, I bet we are going to be right with you. And when we, as we are taking this moment, go ahead and enjoy this music. Uncle Jason, Rupu Nuku Amiku Kimam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, I am a shiny, shiny being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. I am a shiny, shining being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. Rupu Nuku Amiku Kimam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, Rupu Nuku Amiku Kimam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, I am a shiny, shiny being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. I am a shining, shining being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. Rupu Nuku Amiku Kemam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, Rupu Nuku Amiku Kemam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, I am a shiny, shiny being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. I am a shiny, shining being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. Rupu Nuku Amiku Kemam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, Rupu Nuku Amiku Kemam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, I am a shiny, shining being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. I am a shining, shining being dwelling in the light, created from the limbs of divinity. Rupu Nuku Amiku Kemam Keperu in Interhayu Uncle Jason, Rupu. All right. Anke Ma'at, everyone. Anke Ma'at, everyone. Himnetter, how are you this morning?
Uncle Mahad, I am doing well this morning. I was
Wonderful.
running a little behind. I think I accidentally deleted the link because I was cleaning out my emails and yesterday or something. I can't wait. Man, old
That's
man fog hit me and I couldn't remember names. I'm like, I gotta call somebody and I
all you got. Hey, that's all right. You text me. That was it. Um, I do want to, before we even get started, Himnetter, do we have permission to begin?
yes, you do.
Do I? We do have a guest today who is going to be bringing us the praises today. I'll bring him on in just a moment.
Mhm.
Uh, Before we get started, of course, we have our opener. who has been charged with the opening of the way. I love the fact that you have been charged with that, and your voice is so nefer when you do the opening of the way. So we are going to go ahead and I will mute because it seems like when we're not muted, there's a little bit of feedback. So I'll mute so you can go ahead and lead us in the opening of the way.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So as we well, y'all know what hymn netter and Tepi Jabari says that this isn't a show, this isn't theater. So make sure that y'all getting up and y'all are getting ready to do this with me, right? All right. So um, I'm still facing the east. I'm working on the north. I'm still facing the east right now. All right. So we're going to stand in the pose of adoration. Left foot forward, right foot back, left hand forward, right hand back, and your wrist is slightly bented. We want to take three deep breaths, and on the third deep breath, we're going to chant the word Ankh. Okay? All right. First breath in, let it out. Second breath in, and let it out. Third breath in, chant the word Ankh when you release. Let it in. Anisharak in bedhet, Nuke in bedhet, Anisharak happy, Nuke happy, Twau enter. Turn to the right. Anisharak circuit, Nuke circuit, Anisharak capsule, Nuke capsule, Twau enter. Turn to the right. Anisharak ast, Nuke ast. Anisharak set, Nuke set. Twau enter. Turn to the right. Anisharak neat, Nuke neat. Anisharak duamutef, Nuke duamutef. Twau enter. Turn to the right. Anisharak newt, Nuke newt. Anisharak geb, Nuke geb. Twau enter. Anisharak shoe, 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 shoe. Nuke shoe. Hanisharak tefnut, 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 tefnut. Nuke tefnut. Twau enter. Hanisharak paut enteru. Nuke paut enteru. Anisharak ambu enteru. Nuke ambu enteru. Twau enter. Twau enter. I gotta work on my breath.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it was. Now, what is I'm going to throw a question out there, and I want y'all to think about that. When a teacher has students, or initiates. What is the goal of the initiate? Or one of the goals, I should say one of the goals.
To show that the lesson has been learned.
Show that that's a good thing. And one of the things that I'm going to point out, because I think we really have to get on this for for this energy to manifest before you bring it. I'll say this real quick. The open of the way is very important in a sense that it came from Baba Haru. And when he put it out years ago, I mean, way back in the 90s, when um, he started in the East, just like sent here. But he did sent us out and said, I'm not too sure about these directions here. I want y'all to go research them and make sure you have them in the right way. It is very important that as you get the concept of the net rules in the four directions, that you put them properly now. I think that and Tepi Jabari, when he started in the north, he says, I'm starting in the north because this is where we at and this is where the shrine is. And then he still did the opening of the way in the terms of way Baba had, did it. And that's what I'm saying is, as we move forward as initiates, I'm still an initiate in a sense. We use the proper settings. And I think it's very important because you're calling on that energy. They didn't just say it for no reason. They picked those Netarus and powers for a reason. And when they buried the people and they put them on you've seen it. So I think it's a very important thing that you as initiates moving forward, that you always start getting into practice. Now we got the names. Let's make sure we get them, that you're calling, even if you're starting off the east, like me, just like you, I like to start in the east. Why do I start in the east? Is because that's where Kemet is, northeast. I face that way, but I do not start off with Nebbit Head. I start off with Neats because that's in the east, and then I go on and go around, especially around I really do it mostly around my solar return. But that's enough. I just wanted to point that out. We need to get on that now. Let's go on.
Thank you. So do on for that. Do on for that education, which is why we love to have the education so that we can harness the appropriate energies like you mentioned. And for that opening of the way, I do want to say Dua Baba Heru Ankra Semat Sepata Ma'ak Heru, opener of the way, bearer of Ma'at, and the custodian of the Ankh. We continue the ritual in which you taught us so that we can live this legacy today as we are walking the earth, having this physical experience. Dua, dua, dua. All right, now for giving up some flowers as usual. We always give flowers to our ancestors because without them we would not be. Imbu Netaru, all of the Netaru. We give flowers to him, Netter and Tepi, Jajed Ma'at Aten Ra, which is Jabari, the lead of our shrine. We also give our flowers to him, Netter Wasiri, and his queen, Sinet Tara, for helping to start this initiative for our prayer Sundays and sessions of adoration. We love to give flowers to him, Netter Ames, who has, since he's been able, he's been showing up here every week to be with us and to help guide us. We also want to give our flowers to our guest that we have here. I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. We do have a guest. Thanks to him, Netter. I want to say thanks to him, Netter Ames. He and I discussed some things and last week, and we don't need to go into all of the details, but one of the great things that he mentioned was being able to open up to the Kemetic community. So this is not, and I've mentioned this before, what we do here on Sundays is not solely for the Shrine of Ma'at, although we here host and are members of the Shrine of Ma'at. This is something for all of the Kemetic to come together and have a moment of adoration together. So in the future, forthcoming, you will see different faces that will be coming on bringing adoration. So I want to bring to the stage one of my Jegnas, actually, a mentor who's been, and I don't like the word mentor, so a Jegna who I've been working with for many years, a Seba, someone who I've taken many courses of Medinetter with, um, well known in the community, has done some really, really great work. He was the one that spearheaded the service for Baba Heru. You all know the person that I'm bringing on, but I love to give him his flowers because he's done a lot for me in my life. No matter the age, he always tries to make himself older than what he is, but that's because he's lived the age of many that's lived well beyond his years. So I'm going to bring him to the stage to join us, and we'll set the feather and we'll get started in today's praise. So here we are. Here is my Seba. This is the Jed Ankra. Many of you know him as Sanjeti. Please show him some myrrh as he comes
Uh,
joins us today.
welcome, brother. Welcome.
Okay. How's my volume?
Good,
Very
good.
good.
Okay. All right. So I just turned 45. So if you're older than that, do I have your permission to speak? All right. I can't hear you, but I can see, you know,
Yes, you can. Yes,
okay.
I might. Okay.
All right. Doing that too. All right. It's always a pleasure to, have elders still call me a young man, or if I'm at work, and there's an elder who's one of the chefs, and I always call him by Mister, give him his respect, and he always says, "And how you doing, young man?" I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. So, one, dua Netta for bringing me on. Always appreciate being in good company. Uh, you know, people call me Seba. I take that. Um, many different titles. I try to keep my feet on the ground because we have people who will allow titles to let the egos get all out of bounds, etc. So I try to stay away from that as much as I can. Of course, I do have an ego. We all have it. Uh, I do have pride, uh, but I do the best I can to keep it in check. Every now and then you gotta let it out just a little bit. So, but um, but praises to all of you for having me in this space, and then allowing me to share, with you because we're a community. We have different temples, different shrines, and it's important for those of us in the community to we got to work together because it's not a lot of us, right? It's not a lot of us, and we have too many people who, if they can't be the person in charge and they want to be involved in it, that's a problem. So we have to deal with that. We have to find some kind of common ground, do some work together. It doesn't have to be with everything. Just find something. And as you can see you see in the presentation, what a title that Baba Haru gave to me was Irisesh, meaning keeper of the sesh. So I hold that dearly. And from what I remember with Baba Haru teaching us about the East, and it's a conversation that our elder was speaking about with facing the East. This is very important because when you go into ancient Kemet, right, when you look at the shrine area, okay, which is at the rear of the temple, and it's very important for us to understand these things. At the rear of the temple, all the way towards the back, um, you have Ra or any of the Netzeru, but let's just stick to Ra. See, it's where the east faces in, right, so that the sun could come in, Ra come in, and the light hits. So, but if you're outside, let's say you're on the beach, and I definitely invite anyone to do this. Go to the beach. The very next morning, make sure you get up before sunrise. Wherever you are, make sure you look up on the internet when it's sunrise. Okay, it could be at 5:59, it could be 5:58, depending on what it's like the spring or late summer. You should get up at least for 45 minutes prior. Wab, meaning cleanse, bathe. Okay, you do that first. Again, we're talking about comedic practice here. So wab, cleanse first. Don white. Use linen if possible. Okay, if not, then cotton. But never wool. Write that down. Wool is a taboo. Okay, wool is a taboo. Okay, so preferably linen, but of course you could do cotton as well. You want to stick to as many natural materials or plant-based materials as you can, and as little as possible synthetic materials like polyester. So you want to do linen, cotton. And then you go out into the beach. Take your mats out there, take the long big towels with you, and again, supporting what our elder was saying here, echoing what Baba Haru taught. You want to have a compass. Everyone here should have a compass on your phone and or a physical compass. And you should know when the sun rises, the differences of types of sunrise. Do you have like the twilight? Okay, so there's solar time, there's astronomical sunrise as well. So these are some details that we have to understand, especially as leaders and priests. So you go out to the beach and you want to face your towel, yourself, whether it's you and the congregation, etc., so that when you begin your praises, your prostrations, or your kesewa, Kemetic term for prostrations, you want to be facing the sun. So if you ever do it, and as Ra, the orb, the top of the circle begins to rise up, it is a glorious thing to see. And you begin your dua'u, okay, your praise worship, your adorations, etc. Okay, you sing, you chant, you just use your voice, and it's a beautiful. I've done it, multiple times over the years, and then you realize that side of the sky is the shrine. Let me say that again. That side of the sky is the shrine, and Ra, as appears to rise, is the nature. And that side of the sky is the shrine house, if you will. Okay, the Pet Yabatet, meaning the eastern sky. Okay. All right. So you should, according to these teachings, begin by facing east. Begin by facing east. So I want to give praise to our elder for pointing that out. And we'll give praise to our sister, Sinet Oyeheharu, for her performance. Because you performed the ritual. You engaged it. Okay? Because it's about the action of the ritual. And in the text, in the language, it is called Iket Necher. Iket Necher, which means divine ritual. That comes from the text. That's actually what it's called. Okay? It's also called Iriket Necher. Okay, like literally like doing things of the Necher, or the divine ceremony, divine ritual. Okay? And your dua'u is part of the Iket Necher. Okay? So the praise is part of it, but there's other things. There's the offerings, right? So there's the offerings, which, in fact, the offerings is one of the names of the ritual. So when we think about African people giving offerings and praises, when you go to Kemet has the older records of it. Where throughout Africa, we see the modern day practice, which we also do. So I'm gonna give a shout out to you, Sinet Oyeheharu, because again, it's not easy doing that, because you got people watching, you're thinking about, am I getting it right? Am I doing? You got all these things, so it takes courage. It takes courage to engage the ritual, to perform the ritual. And you, sister, you perform the ritual, the Iket Necher. Okay, so when we're sharing vocabulary terms, not for the sake of saying it. This is for us to use it. Okay. This comes straight from the text. So there's no guesswork here. Okay. Um, so Ikenecher comes from let me see, you have the Temple of Seti the First. Okay, comes out of there. Also the Berlin Papyrus 6619 to be exact. So if anyone asks, we have the specifics. Okay, and it's important to have the scholarship. So there's no separating the scholarship from the practice no more. Those days are over. Okay, the scholarship comes with the practice. Okay, because if this practice is important to us, then it should be important enough to study and research. Now, mind you, everyone's not a researcher. Okay, researching is beyond just looking up articles. There are steps and methods to it. However, but we have more people who are more dedicatory. Okay, they have that strength. So it's important for us, for the scholars, to make sure that we're passing on accurate information, so that those who have more of the practice emphasis, it's our responsibility, researchers, to make sure that they have the accurate information. Okay. So when you are constructing songs and hymns and praises, you have correct grammar, because ma'at is what? It means rule. It also means that which is correct. That's what ma'at means. So if that means something to us, then we should be doing that. Like me, I'm not a good singer, but I pass on, the grammars to a sister who has that skill set. And then y'all can go, hey, do your thing with it. But that's our responsibility as sebas. In fact, the word seba meaning to teach, to instruct. Basically, it's a translation of the word scholar, because the word scholar, school, scholastic, school means to teach. Okay, it's the same thing. So I don't take that title lightly. All right, now I would like to share my screen.
Okay. All right. Now I gotta.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll keep sharing. Just let me know when it's ready to share.
I just don't know how. We've never done it. That's all. And I know it's an easy test. So what do I click?
Okay. Let me do it. Screen share.
Okay.
I think I got it.
Okay. There we go. And I just need to do this, don't I?
Okay. Ooh. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Too.
Okay. All right. Mind you, I'm not able to see any of you. Okay. But as long as you can see that. All right. So let's begin. Let's start with the morning praise. Morning praise, by, of course, myself, Irisesh Sanjay Ankara. Again, a title that was passed to me by Baba Heru. Ankara Sama Sapata Ma'akaru. And in the background, you see, this is from the Paps of Anui, in which one of the praises comes from this section right here that you see on the screen. You can see him in a little bit. You see his wife Tutu, and they're giving offerings. So offerings is an integral part of the total ritual. So typically the show starts at 9:30 a.m., which is during the fourth hour of the day, assuming that we're starting at 6 a.m. in the morning as a demarcated time for Kemetic time. So the Kemetic way of keeping time, they started their day with the sunrise rather than what we're calling midnight per se. So sunrise, so we can mark that as 6 a.m., therefore making 9 a.m. the fourth hour of the day. Winawet Ifadet Nut Net Heru, so which means fourth hour, fourth of day. Okay. And then of course here's the Meta Nature, and here's the image of the sun. Well, sun rising, but it should be slightly higher, more like 30 degrees in the sky. Okay. So we have the morning praise, dua dua'u. Dua dua'u, you see the word dua is the word for praise, but dua'u is the word for morning. So you have that word play there, that paronymy, that shows the how intricate that the time and the action are interconnected together by virtue that it shares the same consonants together. So dua means the morning worship or morning praise worship or the morning adoration. So what's in red is reflected of what is read on the papyrus of Anui or in the Pertum Heru. Or it could be the papyrus of Nepsini or the papyrus of Horu or the papyrus of Nake. Same thing. Adoration to Ra when he rises in the eastern horizon of the sky by the Wazir, the scribe of the divine offerings of all the Netzeru. Anui, he recites, homage before your face, or homage to you. You have come as Kepri, even Kepri, who is the creator of the Netzeru. You rise and you shine on the back of your mother, which is the sky, having appeared in glory as Nesut Netzeru, the king of the Netzeru. Your mother, Nut, shall use her arms on your behalf in making a greeting. Again, this comes from the Papyrus of Anui. So this is one of the praises you can do early in the morning. You will want to do it right before the sun appears to rise or as the sun appears to rise. And there's many others that you can do as well. So with this, you can see the dedication. You have come as Kepri, that form. That Kepri, that's your the the becomingness of the Creator. Dua. And then you have your midday praise worship. So that's your Dua Eha, midday. So instead of saying afternoon, we look at it as midday. And that word Ehe or Eha, it means stand still. So this is the sun, this is Ra at its height. So Dua Eha. So adoration to Ra when he rises in the eastern horizon of the sky, when those who are in the following are joyful. So, in the following, it's that means that Ra has made some progress in the sky because you have those who are following. Homage to you, Harakuti, Kepri, the self-created, how beautiful in your shining forth from the horizon when you illuminate the two lands, which is Tawi, with your rays. All the Netzeru are enjoyed when they see you as the king of the sky. So when you're saying king of the sky, this is Ra at his height, meaning he's above all others. And this is one of the ways we know that this is a midday praise. Midday praise in Ra in this form of Harakti or Ra Harakuti. So Ra Harakuti is Ra, and what we say the afternoon sun, if you will. And then you have your evening praise. So one of the ways of saying evening praise worship is Dua Kawi. Dua Kawi. And mind you, we're just pronouncing the consonants here. And he would say, homage to you, Ra, when you set in life, after you have joined the horizon of the sky. You have appeared in the west side as Atum in the sunset, having come in your power, none opposing you. You have conquered the sky as Ra. You reach your two skies in heartfelt pleasure after clearing away clouds and storms, having descended in the body of your mother Nut. You are greeted by your father Nun. The Netzeru of Manu are joyous. Those in the Duat rejoice when you see your possessor with broad stride, Amun Ra, possessor of mankind. So here, when it's saying that you set in life, this is Ra in the west, in the form of Atum. So Atum is emblematic of Ra at a sunset stage. And he says, having come with your power, none opposing you. You have conquered the skies, Ra, in the past tense, meaning you have traversed the sky and you were triumphant. Okay, so you reach your two skies. So you've done these stages, and when you descended in the body of your mother Nut, and you greeted by your father Nun, meaning these are your ancestors. So you're greeted by your ancestors. Okay, Netzru Manu. Manu was a mountain. Okay, those in the duat rejoice. So those are like your ancestors rejoicing. And then you have your broad stride. So when you see your possessor with broad stride, Amun Ra. So broad stride meaning the stride that you've already taken to Anata. Okay, just one picture here. So this is Tomb of Nefertari, and you have Het Heru or Hatori. As I might say, in the Fulani language, we say Itori, sitting next to Ra Harakuti. Very important here. So we can see the names. So you can see Ra, Heru, and Kuti. And in Heru, we see her name right here inside of this square. Duanete. Okay. So I believe that's that. I'm going to stop the share.
Duanete. Before we proceed, I just want to go ahead and oh wait, how do I get us back on the screen? What do I do to get our faces back? Hang on one sec. The share has stopped, but how do I get our faces back on here?
It
So it's not a black screen anymore.
stream this to your audience up at the top. Maybe that'll open it up.
Where do you see that? Oh, wait a minute.
It should bring us back. Boom.
Okay, I see you guys.
Come back up.
And I see. I see the scroll.
Okay.
But I still can't figure out how to get
So,
that.
so it has black screen as if it's presentation or something.
Yeah, but I don't see an option to remove it. Oh, hold on. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's only 3 of us, and it should be more of us.
Elder, look, he accidentally dropped off.
Okay, so he'll come back. Okay, all right. I had to click one of those. I wanted to make sure we show that love to all the folks who are there. We do have Anke Ma'at to Seshmeet. She is one of Sanjeti's students as well. I've known her for a long time as well. I'm wondering, has she become a scribe as of yet, Sanjeti?
Yes, she is a scribe.
I thought so. Due to her for being here. We have our full member, Sin James Chris Limba. Also, we have from our Kemetic Community Outreach, we have J. We have, let's see, Queen Medina. Dua for being here. And also on Facebook, we have, I want to say Anke Ma'at to Love Peace. Melanation app, Anke Ma'at to You, known as Tahuti Forever, our Jati and Benu over in Phoenix. Of course, we have our Sin Jason Holmes. Also on YouTube, that's Josh Story. We have, full member Sin William Stevens. I miss you, brother. It's good that you are here. And that track that I was playing is from the Schaefer's. That is from Shrine of Ma'at soundtrack that they did for us. You can find it on any of the streaming platforms. It's on Apple Music, on what's some of the other ones? What's with Spotify, all of those things you can find.
iHeart, YouTube.
Thank you. I can't remember any of YouTube. Yeah. There you go. Our Sin Curtis, Anke Ma'at to You, Sin Garrick Van, Anke Ma'at to You. And I think I addressed everyone. I just didn't want to leave anyone hanging. So you all proceed. I will mute. Go ahead, and if there's questions, I'll let you guys know. But proceed. I just wanted to make sure we address those folks who have tuned into it.
Oh, well, that was Sanjeti I got kicked out a little bit. I kicked my own self out, but I'm back in. Um, it is good that we have brought that forward. You mentioned a number. I remember uh, we had a meeting down at the shrine one summer, and you bought all these books, and some of them contain the upper papyrus. I don't know if you have them around now, around you, real quickly. Could you show um, the other, if you do, those books of the other papyrus? Because it's good to know that there are others that you should obtain and have into your library on the studies of the papyrus. Most of you, oh my God, know this one. You know this one. If you have it, it's in the book. This is the one most of us know, and it has, but there are so many more that you should have into your library. Even me. That's why I was asking, because like you said, it's always a blessing that we were talking about how a lesson will go, how what we're going to talk about on each session when we get on here. And we open up with the open way. Here I go saying, well, maybe we need to, now that, as because like he said, when I became Boo, a hymn netter, most people, they was like, oh, you're a Boo. And to me, I'm just playing a mess. And I just told them, I said, what do you think that meant to me? Remember I asked y'all that? What do you think that meant to me? I said, the only thing that meant is that I took a little more time out to go a little bit further in the studies and the mysteries and the studies to go and to share. But it was really, for me, it was that journey of self. And that's really where it comes about for me as being a Boo, a priest, knowing thyself, and then willing to share this journey that we're on and what we call life with others. And it's also being a part of being an elder. You do this. I hate, it took me a long time to say I'm an elder. I'm blessed that I reached the age of 65 last year, going on 66 this year. And that's and then you never know when life's going to throw you a curve. Like for me, it was this a rare aggressive cancer that by the grace of the Nebuchadnezzar and the Netarus and ancestors, then I had a skilled surgeon that was able to get that mass and everything out without it leaving any trace. And that's a blessing. So I'm going to turn it over to Sinjetti, because I can ramble. So let's go.
Oh well, that's two of us. I can go. I can go. That's why with the slides, it just made it short, straight to the point. Uh, but yeah, I'm happy that that you're here, because you are, you have historical memory, as an elder. So yeah, so I have this. This is the second edition here. Uh, same one that you have. Mine's a little beat up. My wife has the third edition. It's a little more updated than this one, but it's the same content. So to your question, Elder. So I got this from the Brooklyn Museum. It's actually published through the Brooklyn Museum. So this is the papyrus of Sebek Mise. Okay. So it does have images, translation, etc. Really great work. Images of the papyri in there. And that's what you really want to get. So this is the papyrus of Sebek Mise, or they'll say Sebek Mos, but it's most like Mise. So that we're not trying to make it sound like Moses per se. And then from the British Museum, you have the papyrus of Horu. Pretty, not easy to come by, but it does have images of the papyri in there, translations, etc., chapters. And then we also have I like this one, the papyrus of Nebseni. So this one here, also images of the papyri, translation, Okay. Now, of course, it's not as easy to follow
Could you
as,
hold that up one more time, please?
yep, this one.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay. Yeah, it's not as easy to follow as Faulkner's translation here, because this is made so that more the layperson can follow it more, where these, are more like for the scholars per se. But I still recommend you get it, no
Mhm.
matter how difficult it is. Let's all get together and talk about it so we can get what's happening here,
Mhm.
because in my experience, you know, there will be some who may say or make the demarcation: Egyptologists over here, we're over here. Okay. We don't read white man's books, that kind of thing. So what that ends up doing is it turns you off from getting this stuff. Okay. And guess what, family? If you're looking for a Kemet, okay, I'm be real direct. You have to go to Egyptology. There's no getting around it. All right. You have to go to Egyptology. Um, and you have to engage that with Africana studies. Okay. So Africana studies, African civilization, and Egyptology. You combine that together, you get your chematology. Okay? So, but there's no getting around it, and we have to distinguish these types of studies from New Ageism. Let me say it again. We have to demarcate it from New Ageism, Western Orientalism. Okay, that will essentially take you off of the path. So you're thinking you're getting comedic spirituality, but you're really getting Western Orientalism, okay, with comedic imagery. But if you study African philosophy, and I'm talking about African philosophy from African philosophers, okay, I'm talking about go beyond Wikipedia. And much of these things are written in French because you have brothers and sisters from the continent who are writing about these things. Of course, because of colonialism, you get many writing in French, but much of it is written in English as well. So you have, of course, Sheikh Tajop. We start there. Okay? You have Theophilo Benga, who has works in English. You have Amadou Hampatiba. Most of it, to my knowledge, is in French, but there's some things in English as well. Um, uh, Linke, and many others. So you have to do Africana studies. And the more you read or listen to how African priests from a continent, how they conceptualize spirit, you begin to see the differences in how Western Orientalism describes spirit. So when it comes to our traditions, and notice I'm trying to use less and less of the term spirituality because we want to distinguish it between Western or esotericism. Okay, because when you say spirituality, that's actually was started by Christian esotericists. Okay.
Seba, I have a question for you in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Van says, what are some of the books of African philosophers? Can you name a couple of books of some of those African scholars or African philosophers?
Yeah, of course. So let's do Theophilo Benga, who actually has a degree in philosophy. His book is called African Philosophy. Okay. From the time of the pharaohs. So you want to start with that one. That's really great work there. You want to get books by I need to go on that. Start with Theophilo Benga. I'm trying to think of something that's not specifically written in French. I really do like Amadou Hampatiba, but again, it's in French. Let me put it in the chat. Let me see if I can join the chat. Okay. I'm going to put it in the private chat. Maybe you can copy and paste. Amadou Hampatiba. You can copy and paste that just so that I don't mess my screen up. I'm doing Patiba. Check it the job, Theophilo Benga. Dr. Mlefi Keti Asante, you want to get works by him. He does have a book called Spear Masters. So where he's breaking down the different African traditions. There is a work by an author by last name Temple. It's called Bantu Philosophy. Okay. Bantu Philosophy. Okay. It's a book called Bantu Philosophy. You want to get that. Bantu Philosophy. The author's last name is Temples. The first name escapes me at the moment. Because if you get works like Bantu Philosophy and take that and then apply the understanding to Kemet, you're going to come up with some things that are very different than Western esotericism. And because see, many of us aren't able to distinguish it between the two, mainly because what we're exposed to. So it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just what we're exposed to. So the more and more you read African philosophy and read Kemetic texts. So here I know that y'all read the Sebayit text, Ptahhotep, okay? The instructions of Kagemi, the instructions of Pahepor, the instructions of Amenemopet, okay? The instructions of Anui. As you're reading those, you'll notice they use very simple language. Okay, it's something I like to call in-depth simplicity. Write that down. In-depth simplicity. In-depth simplicity. When you read works, let's say from Babalawos, okay, you'll notice we use a lot of analogies and comparisons with nature. In-depth, in-depth, in-depth simplicity.
There we go.
So they don't use a whole lot of like flowery language per se. You know, that sounds like Greek or overly wordy, but very simple. And that's the pattern you start to pick up. So if you take those instructions, Ptahhotep, Kagemi, Amenemopet, Anui, Pahepor, the instructions of King Keti to his son Merikara. Compare the type of wording. Now read African philosophy. You'll notice it's the same pattern, okay, of simplicity. Now go read the works of Greek philosophers. Okay, so that's the importance of having your scholars, because if you don't have them, then you're not going to have the people who will look at these things critically and pick these things apart. Otherwise, you will have this false universalism. Okay, the false universalism. You know, everyone's the same. Da, 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 da. Where the people who are saying it are not saying it because they actually believe it. They're saying it because they want you to not see them for who they are. So they use broad and ambiguous language. No, we don't use broad and ambiguous language. We use specific language. Okay. You know,
Jati has a question for you, Seba. Says, what are the effects? Where we go? What are the effects of right study? Could both of you elaborate on that a little bit? What are the effects of correct or right study?
Well, in my own experience, when you do, if I'm understanding the question, reading information that is well supported and well grounded, that has a strong foundation, and hopefully that expresses the context of the question. What that does is it allows you to be functional even when there's strong winds against you. So like if you have strong roots and the winds of challenge come, you won't get uprooted so easily. Okay? Whereas, let's just say, let's take Medu Neter, for example. Okay, now I know this is this goes around the community sometimes. And again, I mean this with respect, but I want to use it as an example. Let's take the water ripple as a sign for what we call the letter N, or the vocalized na. Well, some may say, well, that there may be like energy that has nothing to do with energy. Okay, it's just water. It's very simple. Okay, it's not esoteric, and it's okay. It doesn't need to be. It okay. Much of that comes from Europeans' fascination with things they don't know, so they don't understand it. So now, when they make, remember, they're the one making the programs: History Channel, PBS, Discovery Channel, right? So they take Western Orientalism is Europeans' fascination with things outside of Europe, and then trying to make those things that they're fascinated with fit their aesthetics. That's what Western Orientalism is. So they're infatuated with it. Wow. So then they'll take these things they don't understand and then misinterpret them and mystify you. So they give you what I call like high sugar candy. So many of us, ooh, I need that thing to make me go, wow, that's deep, da, 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 right? Which, yes, we do like deep things, but we like deep in a sense of a full course meal, not deep in a sense of high fructose corn syrup. Western Orientalism is high fructose corn syrup. Okay. Whereas we're conditioned to want that quick fix, that instant gratification. And you got to keep back. You got to keep getting more and more and more and more and more. Whereas it takes time to cook a meal. But that meal involves what? Study, right? Okay. Because all of our cooks out there, especially our sisters, you're scholars of the kitchen, of food, of how to maintain life, right? So you have to understand ingredients. You got to know where to get the ingredients. You have to know what store to get. You have to look at the expiration date. You need to know whether it's fresh or it's expired. You got to know all these things. You got to know what sequence to put the ingredients in the pan or the pot or the stove. Okay, what kind of oil are you going to put in there? Are you going to put sesame seed oil, or are you going to put olive oil in there? Or am I going to use butter, or am I going to use margarine? See how intricate that gets? I want to eat food. Don't you want to eat food from someone who takes all those things into consideration? Okay. Who takes the time to make some great, say, pancakes, knows exactly what batter to get, what brand to get. Okay. What combination does, scrambled eggs or vegan eggs, or however you want to do it? Or do you want someone who say, I'm just going to go get McDonald's real quick and give it to you? Which one do you want? McDonald's or a home cooked meal? Western esotericism or African tradition? Okay. African tradition has all these ingredients. Very simple, but in-depth simplicity. So I can get pancakes from here. McDonald's, I can also get pancakes over here. But these pancakes here have some stuff in it that's going to be bad for your health. These pancakes that, let's say, my wife made is way better. Okay. So that's how you want to look at it. That's how you want to look at it. Okay, so Elder, I did show you the papers that you asked about. So I showed you. Okay. To the person who gave the question, I hope I answered your question. About how do you know what's right? So I'm just trying to give a few analogies there. The water ripple. So your instant gratification or marketing tool. Okay, remember, some of these things are marketing tools. Oh, it's energy. Okay, but African philosophy tradition says it's water. So why is that sign being water not good enough? Right? Why does it need to have candy? Okay. Because see, when I think about water, and if we stick to the water, now let's make a whole study of water now. Okay. That's where it's deep. Okay. So what are the molecules that make up water? What are the properties of water? How does water behave in the face of chemicals, heat, cold, etc.? Why does it expand when you freeze it? What is that property? See? You see where we can go when we just stick to what things are, and then do your deep study from there. But if you say,
Right.
"Oh, it's energy," and then you can't do anything with that. I promise you, it's like artificial distance. It's not real distance. Water is the real the distance, the in-depthness. Yeah?
He said you answered it perfectly.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfectly.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that with this.
Ooh, veggie back. We don't eat pork.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I had to
Okay.
get it. I had
I'll
to
take
get
off a pig.
Yeah.
silverback.
I
There you
want y'all to also, when you do the research, go to Google Scholar. And why I will tell you why I want y'all to go to Google Scholar and add that as your search space is because there it goes where you'll get that actual, when you ask a question, it gives you a detailed things and circumvent what he says about how you get their language, which is based off Keynesian economics, and I was just Austrian economics. This is the way that if you want to know how our economics and how things are going today, you're going to find out that the wording that they're using, especially here in the English language, they so-called English language, the math don't add up. You see, you understand, because the letters that they are using or the symbols they are using come from a mathematical principle, but we know that higher philosophy, math is one of the Netter's true language. And so when he was breaking down water, we know that the principle of water is what? One principle, H, 2, and O. There is a mathematical principle in everything we are doing and saying. So a lot of times they are saying you're reading something, and like he says, when you do the deep depth research on what they're, even these scholars, you will see that they'll say one thing and then turn around and change it up because they want to keep you simple. They want you to stay here. They don't want you to go in depth and keep it simple. Because truth of the matter is, we knew that not everyone in Kemet was illiterate. They were farmers mostly, so they needed simplicity. Everything had to be. They didn't, to overstand. That's why they things lasted because it was simple. Just like the plow in the word myrrh, the plow. It was simple. It was like love. It opens up the soil to prepare it. When I remember the first time Baba Haru sold us told us about myrrh and sold us the plow. He says, what is a plow used for? And then I remembered my grandfather in the farm, and I said, well, it tills the soil, it opens it up. Then it also came that he would change after he plowed the fields. He changed it up as stuff grown. He had another type of plow that went in and snatched out the weeds as it was going, as it was growing. So that's why I wanted to piggyback on. He's right about what we read and look at. And I feel that this is something nobody else ever, has shared, because I just learned it. At a matter of fact, when I'm going with these veterans, we're looking about economics and all that. And this young brother went through and said, I need y'all to start going to Google Scholar. He says, you can get most of the books that they will charge you to download. You can get them for free there. You can go in there and read it. And then you can listen to read what they're saying. And then you do an analogy of that, and you'll see how even there, these are supposed to be the scholars of everything, but they'll change up. And it's right there for you to see. Mm-hmm. Because the math, that's why the math of their language does not coincide. Where even when he was pointing out, I was always wondering why I always see these numbers in the Kemetic scriptures. When he was showing it was showing a 3, and I was like, why are they putting that there? Why aren't they writing out the words? It's because they know something that I don't know, and there you can break that down. And I wanted to ask you about that, since you are a scribe. Why did they when they doing some of the text, when you read them, you know you have the number in there. And is it to I is it trying to represent the vowels that they don't use?
Now, when you say number, what do you mean?
But it looked like a number three to me. It might not have been a three.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
The
So,
function.
all right. So what you seeing there is transliteration. Okay. So
Hmm.
again, we're using Latin letters. Um, so those of us, can read the consonants. Okay. So it's actually not a three.
Okay.
It's not being used as the number three. I used it because it approximates the shape of the sign that's there.
Oh.
That's all. So
Oh.
yeah. So again, so transliteration, and again, I teach this in the meta lecture, and you can get this in the grammar book as well. It is swapping equivalent letters. Okay. So like if I take the commonly known word, let's take Allah, right, in Arabic. So if I'm if I remember correctly, it is alif lam lam alif ha. Okay? That's the ajat or Arabic letters. Alif lam lam alif ha. Well, when I swap equivalent letters, it's alpha, lambda, lambda, alpha, I believe eta, okay, or H. But then we say it in English is ALLAH. I just swap equivalent letters.
Mm.
Okay. So what you seen on the screen was a swapping of equivalent letters. So you see the sesh kemet or the Kemetic script, okay, and then I just did equivalent letters. So that sign that's being interpreted as a three, but it's used as what they call nasalized uvular trill, or the vulture per se. Someone say it's ah. Now someone in the chat said computer script. So in computer script, it would be a capital A. So you have a capital A and then you have a lowercase a, which represents another hieroglyph sign. Um, Technically, it's not a vowel. It's more of it's a consonant that has what's what we're looking for shifts. So it could be a L, R, or N. But the scribes realizing that because of the different dialects in Kemet, because remember, Kemet, even modern day Egypt is, let's say, a medium to small, large state, okay, or country. What African country today speaks one language? Why do we think Kemet's any different? Okay, now but really think about that. Bring it to the forefront, because of course that's not really brought to the forefront of conversations. But let's start that. You have ancient Kemet. You have that length of the Ituru, the river. We call it the Hopi, or we should say the Ituru Hopi, which means the Hopi River. Well, do we think that people in the north spoke the exact same language people in the south? Go to any African country. Do we think that people on one side of the Niger River speak exactly the same as people on the other side of the Niger River? No. Ancient Kemet ain't no different.
That's what I thought.
Okay, think about that. However, these are related languages, like German and English, Portuguese and Spanish, okay, or French and Spanish. They're different languages, but they're related. Okay? So and I'm doing this to explain this sign that we're talking about. Then we want to shift back to our devotional, okay? Because that's the point of why we're here. Well, if I want to say good morning in Espanol, you say buenos dias. Hmm? If I wanted to say good morning in Portuguese, I would say bom dia. Right? Bom dia. I know that because some of my coworkers are from Portugal. But now I have coworkers from Brazil. So they would say bom dia in Brazil. Right? But if I'm in France and in Paris, I would say what? Bonjour,
Bonjour.
bonjour. Sounds different, but you can kind of hear a little bit of the commonality, right? You get
Mhm.
that B, so you have a B and an N. Okay. In Portuguese, they drop the N, boa, dia, boa, boa, right? So you have the B. So the base is the B N as a consonants. Boa, you drop the N, but it's okay. Buenos, B N. Okay. Um, bonjour, B N. You see that? So if I'm a scribe and I need to write one letter, like on a sheet of paper, but I need people from Spain, France, Portugal to understand what I'm writing, I just write the consonants. So
Mm.
that literary invention by these Northeast African scribes was a genius invention of communication. Okay. But however, if I take a word for a person of shorter stature, we may say toi. Okay. Europeans will say pygmy. Well, um, when you go to the Old Kingdom, okay, in the pyramid text, etc., during the time of Pepi the First, Pepi the Second, um, their word for a person of shorter stature, or we might say a toi. Um, the word was just in my head. It'll come back to me in a second.
Mm.
But they're they have a split between an N, L, and a L, N, L and an N and an R. There you go. Not Dicknish. Not Dinka. Deneg. There you go. So in the Old Kingdom, it's spelled like Doreg with an R, Doreg, but it's probably pronounced Deleg. But in Amharic, now mind you, Old Kingdom, okay? Old Kingdom, so we're talking like 4th, 5th millennium BCE. They still use the word today in Amharic, okay? So the word is Deleg in Amharic. They still use it. But when you go into Kemetic text throughout the history, they also use it in there in the same spot. So some of them may be pronouncing it Daneg or Denega, okay? Has nothing to do with the word Negro, okay? So I was going to put that out there before someone thinks about it. Nothing to do with that. So Denega, okay? Others may say Delega or Delego, okay? Others may say Dereg in the same position. So the scribes realizing that, oh, these sounds interchange, but it's the same position. So I'm going to put a sign there to represent, kind of like a neutral sign. So that's the vulture that we say is a ah, but it's not a ah. It's a consonant that rotates between different cognates, or it's a cognate in different languages, in dialects. So the easy route is to say it's ah, but that's not it. Okay, so we just kind of want to get used to. I'm just gonna say more effort. I'm just gonna say it and just let chips fall where it may. We got to put a little bit more effort. So the more we do that, the more we get used to it, and then it won't be so hard anymore. Okay. All right. So,
Thank you.
Can I answer the questions? I wish I could just put some images on the screen, but we can get to that in the future. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as back to the
now,
text.
everyone, as you can see, is no such thing as a ignorant or stupid question. As you can see, Abu took something and thought it was a number, and he learned something new. So this is what I want to free up with everyone here, is that do not get so caught up. Oh, that person knows more than me and this and that. Your spirit, your heart, this is what you're here for. So don't be binded. Don't get fettered down. Don't get chained down with not knowing something or not even overstanding something. Ask that question. Ask. That's what we all do. Everyone has a piece here. You understand?
Mhm.
And that's how we grow as a family, as a unit. As Brother Sanjetti was talking about it, we have all these Kemetic shrines and temples where one has it this way and that way. Get it all, grab it all. I have Warren Neffers books. I have my Dr. Mahatir's books. Get it all. Get it. Ask questions. Um, like you do here. And if you don't know, we as teachers or scribes or elders, what we're supposed to go out and if we don't know it, try to find it and bring it back to you. And that's what you got today. I'm truly blessed that to have you on. Dua, brother Sundari, and you're helping us get into this a little bit better.
Sure.
Do I?
And as far as and again, do I for your words. I only I just do the best that I can. Um,
Mm.
Because I went through a lot of the bumps and bruises and moments, interpretations early on. Took me a long time to get certain things that I want to make sure other people don't have to wait so long to get certain, like right information. So when it comes to Kemet, etc., I've heard it all. But that's only because I started real early. I started early. I was a teenager. I was 13. Technically I should say 8, but we'll start when it comes to deliberate study on purpose. I was 13.
Wow.
Where you have people who don't start until their 20s or 30s. Okay. Everyone's journey is different. I just happened to start early. So by the time I hit 20 years old, a lot of things was old to me. But again, that's just, that's just the journey. And there's things I believe that was wrong. And I'm like, wow, I went through the whole trauma of realizing, wow, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Or I've been believing this guy. He's not really what he says he is. I've been through that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just want to switch gears here. So from the presentation that you've seen, you see there was three du'aus or 3 praise worships there. So you've seen the morning, midday, and an evening. So your 3 prayer times, if you will, or ritual times, because it's not just prayer. See, when you pray, you're asking for something. Okay. My mother told me one time that prayer is the art of asking. Okay. But when do you give? See, when you do an African tradition, you're giving a lot. That's the difference with, the I'm gonna say the surface idea that are coming from Abrahamic traditions, from Christianity per se. Praying, always asking for stuff. But when do you give? So that's where the offerings in African tradition, you do a lot of offerings. In Sheshe Legba and Lukumi Ifa, it's a lot of what ebo, which is sacrifice. Sacrifice is the same word as offering. So instead of always asking, in African tradition, we're giving. Because it's only when you're giving do you receive and receive. Okay. When you're dealing with African traditions, you're really dealing with the reciprocity. You're dealing with more personal responsibility, not, oh, I messed up, so just forgive me and that's it. Like, I don't even know if there's a word for forgiving in Khmer language. Actually, I never even need to look that up. But it's more about resolution, actually, not forgiving. Okay. Because see, technically forgiving just means that you did me wrong and I'm deciding not to come after you. That's all forgiving me really means. You punch me in the face, okay, I'm not going to punch you back in the face. All right. But resolution is, how do we find a balance? How do I make this right? Okay. Of course, we're all not perfect. Okay. But I think if we're thinking more along those lines, we have better relationships with each other. But now, your 3 ritual times is morning, midday, because the word, they don't say afternoon. midday, because the word is aha, and again, I'm only pronouncing the consonants. It's a word meaning stillness, to stand still. So, meaning when the sun is in the highest point of the sky, it appears to stay still. So, midday. Now, when is your morning? Morning time in Kemet, we can equate that to 6 a.m. Okay, 6 a.m. And so that's the first hour of the day, because you have 12 hours of the day or 12 hours of Heru, and then 12 hours of the night or 12 hours of Garaho. Okay. So the first hour of Heru starts at 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then the sixth hour, remember, 6 is the halfway point to 12, but the sixth hour starts at what we call 11 a.m. So it's 11 a.m. to 12 noon. So that's your sixth hour. Okay. Now, after that, now it starts to go into the other half. Okay. So when you go into the pyramid text, I believe it's 268. Let me double check. I believe it's 268. Pyramid text 268.
It is.
Don't write that down because I might be getting mixed up. But I can tell you this: in the pyramid text, there's a verse that says that I bathe or I wash as Ra rises and the Ennead shines.
It's 268, but I'm using this one version of the pyramid text.
Okay, that's the second edition. Yeah.
I have it at it's
It's
numbered.
it's not 268 for that one.
Oh,
I'm mistaken.
okay. Because I saw I washed myself
Oh, actually, yeah, I did get it right. I'm sorry, I did get it correct.
yeah, because I said it's numbered, so I went to 268. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, can you read that? Can you read that for us? Go read that for us.
Okay. Recession. I wash myself as the sun appears, as the elder in that shine.
Okay.
Should
there you
go. Right there. Right there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. This is additionally, I want to try to obtain this. This is the one I have.
Absolutely. So Egyptian Pyramid Text by James P. Allen. That is the second edition. I like the first and the second edition. So the first edition, James P. Allen, he enumerates each of the pyramids. So you have first is Unas, the Pepi the first, Mernara, Pepi the second, and then Queen Neat. Okay, 5. So he enumerates each one individual, okay, by that particular pyramid. But in the second edition, he enumerates it based off of Faulkner's numeration.
Oh, okay.
So when you go into the back of that book, second edition, it should have a concordance at the back where there's lists. It'll put PT for pyramid text, PT, and then
you mean like here, like back here,
yeah, in the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, boom, glad I remember that. Yeah, 268.
I'm glad I had it.
No, and you know what? I'm glad you had it to confirm it. Okay? But again, that shows that this is what happens when you actually read these things and study these things. Because you never know, somebody might check you. You know, I'm glad you checked me. Good. Now, mind you, people, checking is not always bad. Checking just means, oh, let me confirm what you said. Oh, I like what he said. Let me read that. Right? And then a connection is made. That's how learning happens.
Absolutely.
So we want to take that passage and we use that to inspire us. So if we use that to inspire Kemetic practice, I wash myself as Ra rises and the Ennead or the elder Ennead. And Ennead is a word that means 9. Okay.
Yeah.
And the elder Ennead So that means that you can rise, wob, shower before or as the sun comes up. So by the time 7 o'clock gets here, unless you're sleeping in, I guess, like on the weekend, Saturday, something. Um, but yeah, but you're waking up, you're doing ritual. So that's technically you waking up, say 5:30, if you want to be ready by 6 o'clock. Okay. So those are your three praise prayer times. And I put together some steps, simplified steps on a morning ablution, which is another word for purification by water, showering, etc. Um, that will be shared upcoming. Now, next week, a week from today, I was supposed to be presenting on the Mutu family. They're based out of Paris, so that's the French-speaking community. So I'll be talking about the daily ritual, that Iket nature that we talked about earlier. I'll be talking about it from the historical records. And then that's part one. The part two will be, well, how do we use this today for somebody who has to go to be to work by 9 o'clock a.m. or 8 or 7 like me? Okay. What can I do in the morning that's like within 30 minutes or 20 minutes that you can do? Or let's just say, you're in the Shrine of Ma'at, or you're in the House of Aset, or you do Egyptian yoga, or you do the Kemetic yoga with your Sarah Hotep. What is that we all can do that's the same? So the steps that I put together is so that all of us can do it, but it doesn't impede upon what you already do. Okay. So you could do this, go to work, do this, do the Egyptian yoga. If you follow Moat Ashby, you do this, do the Kemetic yoga. If you follow your Sarah Hotep, you do this and do Kemetic yoga. If you follow So Happy, you could do this and then, do the opening of the way. If you're in the Shrine of Ptah, Shrine of Ma'at, also, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay. Where it won't change what you're doing is simply giving preparatory steps that all of us do, that we all share in common.
Which is greatly needed.
Very good. I wanted to give a couple of birthday or solar return shout outs to some of the folks that I'm aware of. I know that one of our full members, Adrienne Marie Maat, had a birthday today. So if you are out there listening to us, we say happy solar return. I like to say happy HAPI BEARTHDAY birthday to the folks. We had another member, Larry Lack. His birthday was yesterday. We do have the Jati and Binu Phoenix, whose birthday is coming up on the 19th. That's coming up. So we say happy solar return to you, known in the chat as Melanation app, but that's Tahuti Forever. And then someone had asked about the music played earlier at the beginning of the session. That was by Kenya and her husband, the Schaefers. She has a birthday coming up on the 20th, and that will be before we meet again. So I wanted to say happy solar return to her as well. And before we even close with prayer, I would like to ask either Sanjeti, or actually both of you, if you wouldn't mind, saying a special prayer for our Himneter Wasiri. We haven't gotten any other special prayer requests, but he is doing fairly low, and he's unable to speak right now. He had 2 hospital visits this week, and I know he wouldn't mind me sharing that information because we do speak openly here about that. And then, that's, so if the 2 of you wouldn't mind, doing some kind of adoration for him and anybody else who's out there that even if they haven't mentioned it, that might be ailing or going through something, that's here and under the voices of all of us, if you could, the 2 of you could do something in reference to that.
Okay, I will start off. As you know, I know about not being able, going through radiation and chemo, where I could not speak and talk. And so I can't call it off. Remember, I did it. I would have to go get my Pertin Rue, but in there, um, I will say this prayer of may the divine bless every part of his body, because every part of his body is sacred. May the speech, the words of the Neteru Tahuti come through, the keeper of spoken words. Let us move forward and give him strength, on the foundation of my art. May the strength in his body heal like it did me. I pray this prayer and lift this up to the ancestors and all that hear me. Dua. Listen. And if you want to speak anything, Sinjeti, I give the floor over to you.
Duaneta, 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 Duaneta. Nazadak Jehuti Imi Hotep Netru. Nazadak Jehuti Imi Hotep Netru. And Nazadak Jehuti Imi Hotep Netru. And Nazadak Jehuti Imi Hotep Netru. Spoken 4 times. It is Jehuti, adoration to Jehuti, who is in a piece of the Netru. May the intact eye be given, to our brother, to our elder, who is in the healing process. May you move his blood across his body unfettered. May you heal his heart. May you heal his mind, his brain, his organs. May you keep his heart intact. May you heal the ailments. May Heharu, be his legs. May Ptah be his back. May Aset be his 2 hands. May Dwajat be his 2 eyes. May Juti be the nose. May Juti be the teeth and the mouth and be upon his speech. May Nebehet be the arms. May his feet be Heharu and Ptah. May no part of his body be absent of the presence of any of the Neteru. May the Paut Neteru be above him. May the Paut Neteru be beneath him. May the Paut Neteru be on the left side, be on the right side. May Paut Neteru be in a feature of his spirit. May the Paut Neteru be in the past of his spirit. May the Paut Neteru be the present, ever present of his spirit. Duaneta, 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 Duaneta.
Wow. And thank you for recalling that. That is out of the Persian Rule. I forgot. Do you know offhand which
chapter 42?
Chapter 42. Okay. I should know that one because I used it a lot. And as a healing process, I just couldn't recall it at the moment. But thank you for bringing it forth, helping the elder out here remember something.
Do I?
You are. So everyone, I'll let you send, Car never close out with closing statements and like I said, this has been great. I'm happy that we are moving forward. And thank you for taking my suggestion and reaching out to others. And we had a great scholar here. I look up, he's young, but I look up to this man very much. I was so happy to see him at Baba Haru's ceremony, and he got a chance to see me. And it was just before I couldn't. Right after that, right. I went into that where I couldn't even talk or speak, but I had a chance to see you uplift me. I've known him and been in his presence for many years, and that's why I say when you walk that path, it tells you that if you walk that path, you never know who you will influence or guide. And you can see me as an elder, as a priest, someone who's been in the community for many years, since the 90s, and learning this, that I still admire those that have gone even further than me. And so I give that humble and due respect and acknowledgement. So I hope that is something that we do in this. That's another part of this tradition. It's not just those that you, like you said, with the titles and it's is recognizing with a humble heart when you meet and receive. You understand? And I keep this heart humble. Uh, that because we always talk about it being on the scales of my eye, so that be light as that ostrich feather. Do I?
Do I. Sinette Cassie, Sinette Oye.
I wanted to say that it was a pleasure to be able to see one of the things that I say, like being the teacher and the student. I got to see that today with both Himnetter Ahmez and um, he's a Himnetter, right? Sanjeti.
He's a
I don't want to mess up. Well, I already did, but it was just a pleasure to see that, to see y'all be able to go from teaching and then also flipping right back into being the student and learning. And I think sometimes that's important for the people or the initiates, us, to see that, because it's not always about having the information. It's about being able to know when to teach and then when to convert back into the student, because some people think that once you become the teacher, that's it. you know you're just supposed to learn. So I really appreciated that.
I just want to say that I know I don't even hope, but hope is far less a word. I'm confident that as the future of the comedic legacy continues, because of people like you all, people like us who are diligent in this work, I look forward to how we grow together, even as different shrine houses. Um, and I still give praise to Baba Heru because of his vision. And after that celebration of life, I feel that the spark that was needed was had. And I think from there, it is our charge that he has given us as an ancestor. Even without his words, he's always given charges. But in his transition, he's given us the charge to step up and to continue. And I see it, and I see it happening, and I see so many great things in our futures, all of our futures. So I just look forward to continue doing the work. I will end with the Amasu prayer, and I like to read it because I don't like to misinterpret the words. I do know the English translation, but I like to actually read it so it comes out appropriate. So I will say, Amasu and Pa inter, Sauek, Sauek su, Imit and Pa inter, Aua, Taua, Maketipa, Herura. In our translation, we say, give yourself to the one most high. Keep yourself daily for the divine. And do it tomorrow just as you've done it today. Tuau winter.
winter.
It's been great, guys. So much more to you all. Uncle Johnson, to everyone, and we'll see you all next week for another session of adoration. And look out, because as I watch, I'm an observer and a record keeper. I will be reaching out to you to come on and give praise as we move forward. So much more to you.
Okay. Dua.